Hey, welcome back to my channel. Basically today I'm gonna show you some of the experience that I have while using this bike for 6 months, and then also I'm gonna show you some of the upgrades that I have for this bike up to now. The plus for this bike is first is the value for the money. I mean, like, for the amount of money that you pay, you get the carbon frame, fork, the handlebar is carbon, the seat post is carbon. It's basically cheap. And then the minus for this bike that I experience is the brakes. We need to change the rotor and the caliper for this bike, since the one that comes with the bike is pretty bad. And then the bike is pretty heavy for a carbon bike. I think it's mostly comes from the wheel set that uses alloy. And then the things that I don't like on this bike is the crank is not Shimano 105. The crank is actually uses decaf, which is a pretty heavy crank. So probably we might need to upgrade the crank if you want to have like the best performance for this bike. The first upgrade that I have is the Supercast bar tape. It's really nice. It's easy to grip. I like it a lot. It looks premium compared to the one that comes with the bike. And then for the saddle, I'm using the EC90 saddles. The saddle is pretty light and it looks nice. And it's small but good. And then for the light, I'm using the Rock Bros light. When you brake, the light will light up like the regular cars or motorcycle brakes. So it's really good to have. Okay, and for the rotor, I changed to the Shimano Ultegra rotor. It's a little improvement, but I still think that I will need to change the caliper to have the maximum performance for this. For the hub, I'm using the Hubsmith ceramic bearing. It's really nice. I love the B sound for it. It's pretty loud. And then for the tire, I'm using the Schwalbe one. I really like the classic tan look for this bike. And then for the bottle cage, I'm using S-Works. It's pretty light. And I also use this Rock Bros horn, which is small horn for the traffic, so you don't have to yell, just use the horn. It comes handy. For the wheels, I'm using these Super Team curved wheels. It weighs 1.7 kilo, and then the regular one weighs about 2.7. So I cut down the weight by around 1 kilogram. Okay, and then while using this new wheel set, I think I see the improvement on the speed. Usually the sweet spot is around like 34 kilometers per hour. After I change, it becomes like 37 or 38 for the sweet spot for this bike. Okay, and this is kind of like the look that I like for this bike. And the other things that I changed is the cleat. I'm using the Keo Classic Cleat. I paired that with the Majin cadence sensor that's connected to the cycomp that I have, which is Majin 406 cycomp. It's a very cheap cycomp, but it's complete because you have speed, the heart rate, cadence, and also it comes with the power meter sensor. Okay, for the conclusions, like I mentioned before, if you don't care about the brand and you just want to have a nice bike which have a pretty good performance, I think this bike is worth it. You know, like I mentioned before, the value for the money, for the amount of money that I paid, I got everything carbon, from the frame, handlebar, seat post, fork. The only thing that's not carbon is the wheel set that comes with it. and I fixed that problem by changing into the Super Team curved wheel set. So far so good. I think I'm gonna ride this bike for a while, and I don't see any needs to upgrade this bike anytime soon, except probably the crank that I will upgrade next, as well as the caliper for the brakes. I think that's about it from me. I hope you guys like my review. Thank you.